Tem alguma coisa mágica acontecendo aqui.
Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. Mis ojos están en todos lados.
Brinca aqui pra gente, que é louco pra caralho fazer isso que a gente faz.
Mas esse sonho que você falou, esse é seu sonho de verdade? Porque se for, você não pode desistir dele nunca. O importante é não deixar de acreditar.
I am Brazilian. This is who I am.
Choose all about women, be proud of who you are.
Que nunca deixem de ser a coisa mais pura que vocês são.
Se a gente ficar unido, a concha vai sobreviver.
Olha aí, congelou!
Amizade. O único amor que nunca morre.
Why to produce your own content in the beginning, and then why producing films?
So when people started streaming on their programming on Netflix, they mostly were streaming everyone else's programming from around the world. So and about a year after it would be on television, we would make deals with everybody to put the shows on Netflix, and we'd take all the commercials out, and put all the episodes together and put it up. And we really believed that this would be the future of how people would watch television. First young people, and then everybody, this is how people will be watching television around the world. And if we really believe that, then the people who are selling to us would eventually not want to do that. So we had to figure out, okay, in a world where Global doesn't sell us anything in Brazil, for Brazil. And so in a world where our suppliers are also going to be our competitors, we better figure out a way to put programming on Netflix if we need to. And really it was just how do you figure out earlier, before we need to, how do we do it well? How do we align ourselves with great producers and great directors and great writers to produce television just for Netflix? So not in the second window, but in the first window. And that was only 7 years ago. We started directing 7 years ago, doing our first original series, House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. And seeing how those shows, and then one of the things you figured out when you were getting into this early parts of production was so much television and film was created through a bunch of conventional wisdom, a bunch of theories, and a bunch of things that are mostly not true. You know, like foreign language content will never play in the U.S., like Narcos. Stranger Things. The reason why we were the 19th pitch for Stranger Things, and we did it, was all the traditional networks said, oh, you can't make a TV show for adults that stars kids. Which turns out to, of course, not be true. So most of these things that were happening in television and film is the decision-making is based on a lot of history that is, maybe it was true 50 years ago, but it's not true now. So we were able to, because we didn't know anything, try things, and then it turns out that they work. So that was our move into original programming was mostly so we had access to great content. And then in film, similarly, now we're 4 years, we're in the third year of our doing our original film initiative. We mentioned starting with Beast of No Nation. And very similar, but it's actually more difficult to license films than it is television shows. Because there was in many cases, those rights have been sold for 10 years into the future when a movie comes into the theater. So getting access to films, and it's even uniquely more difficult in Brazil to license films for our Brazilian members because of the very complex distribution and financing rules in place. So that's why we're getting into it. We announced today we're going to be producing 30 original films and series and documentaries and stand-up comedy specials in Brazil, including our some big. We did an early partnership for a film, Matador, last year, but this year we're producing several big films, right from the script stage all the way through, all kinds of films too. Wagner Moura, rom-com that I think people are going to really love, Ocorreu, Carnival, which I think is going to be films that are really uniquely Brazilian stories, Brazilian producers, Brazilian cast, in Portuguese, that are from Brazil but for the world. And we're really proud that, to kick off with these films.
Netflix has a foot in a Silicon Valley and another foot in Hollywood, which makes you a very unique company, and I think that that's why you guys changed the whole way that of people consume content in the world. So how do you guys balance this technology and content, and what do you personally see in terms of technology ahead of those? What's because, like you said, the revolution that Netflix brought to this business happened like 7 years ago.
Very recent. Yeah.
It's very recent. So I imagine what's going to happen next. You know, in the next 7 years, in the next 10 years.
So the great benefit, I think, of being having your roots in a technology company is that you can think about the world a little bit differently and think about how do you make. You know, what the internet has brought to many industries is convenience and ease of use and efficiency. You know, so how can you do that here? And one way is to put the world's library at your fingertips. Just push play anywhere you're at, anywhere you have an internet connection and a screen, and you can watch content from around the world. When we launch our original films, our original series, they're in 190 countries at that. And so you have the whole world talking about Sergio, in your case, at the same time, which is unique in that in the older distribution paradigms that you could have a global release, but usually by different countries and all different companies in different countries, all at different times, a different marketing campaign, a different narrative. Where this is a global narrative for great storytelling. The other thing is thinking about how to use technology to enhance things. So right now we're in the middle of an early stage of something around interactive storytelling. So we did a show called Bandersnatch from Black Mirror, which gave the audience a chance to make decisions through the story of where the main character would go, what he would do. At first, very easy, what cereal am I going to eat for breakfast? What song am I going to listen to? And then it got very dark and made very tough choices. And we do, so in that case, it was as dark as, do I kill somebody, do I jump off a balcony, all these different things. But we also did You versus Wild, which is a very complete family experience where families can get together and they're it's a nature adventure with Bear Grylls where they're deciding for him, do I go up that mountain or do I go through that creek? And I think people are trying to kill him. I think that's what they're doing when they make the choices. But people can be mean. People can be mean. But it's using technology to enhance storytelling, not to replace it, and not to try to. You definitely don't use technology for creative endeavors. It's mostly to make watching more enjoyable. But all those stories are told. Every option that you're choosing from is written by a writer, created by a producer, acted out and shot, by a cast and crew. So the creative endeavors are very human, and the center of every creative endeavor has got these human beings and creativity. Technology just helps make it accessible.
How important is data for you when you commission a work? Do you take that in?
Very little. I mean, what data for us helps us to understand potentially how big something might be, to enhance our confidence in how much to invest in something. But beyond that, no data that would tell us make this story instead of this story, or write this actor instead of that actor, or any of those kind of things. So there's no, the technology that goes into it is mostly on the business side and zero on the creative side. So it's very much human instincts, human intuition, that is a story, that that people want to hear. That's a world that people want to spend a lot of time in. Those are people that people want to invest in. And that's a very human process. It has nothing to do with data.
This is not alone anymore in the streaming service thing. Right, so there is now, you see that Disney is doing its own streaming service, and Amazon, and also other smaller companies in Europe and China. How do you deal with that, with the competition? Does that keep you awake at night?
Except for when I travel, I sleep pretty good. I would say, we've always had big competition everywhere we go. Imagine you're going to operate in the television business in Brazil with Globo, or in the US with Comcast, or all these big media companies. So we've always had competition, and it's good. Competition is very good for consumers. It makes everybody who's at this top of their game. But for us, what I want to do is we focus really on our members, and all of our energy, everything we talk about inside of our company meetings, is how do we spark joy. We got that phrase from Maria Kondo. How do we spark joy with our members by getting them to, tell the stories the stories that they love are on Netflix. And then if you want to also say, I also like all these Disney things, so you could add the Disney things if you want. But I would never give up my Netflix because all my shows that I love are there, all my movies that I love are there. So that's the thing, we have to really focus on that connection with the member, and competition is a natural and very healthy thing. And if we believed from the beginning that this is the way people are going to watch, then we would have a lot of company eventually. So I'm surprised it took so long for there to be so many major competitors, but they're in, and I think it's going to make it better for viewers, better for consumers, and we'll make Netflix a better company too. It's a love relationship. Yeah.
Netflix and Brazil, and like I said, given the moment we are going through here, the fact that you guys are producing 30 new shows in Brazil is spectacular.
And I think we should think about it as just the beginning. Just the beginning.
That's amazing. And so why Brazil? How important Brazil is for Netflix, and why producing 30 new shows here? Tell us a little bit about this relationship.
This very big and full room will tell you why. It's one of the great creative centers of the world. The emotional connection that I think Brazilians have to Netflix is very strong, and the emotional connection that Netflix has with Brazil is also very strong. Great diversity, incredible topography, places in terms of where you're going to shoot, incredible rich storytelling history, and real talent. I mean, Brazil is one of the largest markets in the world for Netflix, and the idea of being able to tell stories that are uniquely Brazilian, but for the world, it is unique in the world in terms of your ability to do it. Great production infrastructure. So the idea of, I knew of you and from your work in the U.S. years before. So it was the idea that you can make great films and great stories that the world is interested in, wants to hear. And a lot of times it's the complexity of financing, the complexity of funding. So as you mentioned, some of the changes that are happening in the market right now, the one thing you can count on from Netflix is that we are a steady source of production, a steady source of production financing, and a steady creator of programming in Brazil for years to come, for decades to come, we hope. So, starting with the projects we announced today, and we're thrilled to be able to work with such incredible creative people in this country. Larissa Manuela, Mesa Silva, we're two young great stars, or I think will be kind of voices of tomorrow. The great writer, Talita Bruno Garatti, Cesar Rodriguez, and that's in addition to the other directors like yourself, Fernando Morales, who's the Popes for us, that we're really excited about. So we have a deep connection with Brazilian creative, that we want to have these great stories that are made from Brazil, but for the world. And those stories should be authentically Brazilian. So we want to be here to tell the stories that you can only tell from Brazil, that are in locations that are beautiful. We're shooting We did when we did Wagner Moura, we shot Seekers. And a lot of people, when I talk to people in Brazil about this, they go, where is that? I don't know, it's a very remote place, but it's the topography of this country is so stunning. And where you can shoot a film from any period, from any story almost, in some place in Brazil. So that's what